You believe in a God, but you do not believe in a personal God. You believe, just like Einstein, Spinoza's God, right?
God.
Right.
That if there is a God, then I think that it's a deistic, hands-off kind of God that just created shit or whatever.
Okay, a religious person would say that if the universe existed, obviously there was some point where a decision was made to bring about this existence. If a decision was made to from point of origin to existence, somebody must have initiated it, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You only, even in your practical everyday activities, you don't think like this, right? You derive logic from the observable universe and you take a rational decisions on everyday life. But when it comes to God, all of a sudden we have to pull the super skepticism into it. Is the argument from intelligence, right? So human beings are intelligent people and we can initiate things as well. So we possess consciousness, right? We possess volition. So just like we as intelligent beings possess volition, this universe depicts a lot more intelligent. So a being that must have initiated it must also have a higher conscious and a higher intelligence. Does that sound rational? What is your background?
Uh, I don't really know. I guess, what do you want to know?
I usually like to discuss on theological issues, religious issues, philosophical issues. Like, what do you believe in?
Uh, I kind of, I don't know. I don't really believe in any like mainstream religion or anything.
Hmm.
I'm kind of, I'm kind of deistic, I guess, if anything, like deistic or agnostic.
Hmm. So,
For my argument for religion is that I don't really care.
hmm.
Like, I don't, whether or not I believe in a God doesn't really affect how I live my day-to-day life.
So
So I don't.
you believe in a God, but you do not believe in a personal God. To just explain your position, right?
There, uh, there might be a God. I don't necessarily
No,
believe that there is a God.
deism means that you do believe in a supernatural.
Mhm.
You do believe in a supernatural. You believe in a God, but you do not believe in a personal God. You believe, just like Einstein, Spinoza's God, right?
God.
Right.
If there is a God, then I think that it's a deistic, hands-off kind of God that just created shit or whatever.
Okay, a religious person would say that if the universe existed, obviously there was some point where a decision was made to bring about this existence. If a decision was made to from point of origin to existence, somebody must have initiated it, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm. So
I think that that's very possible, but I
mm.
don't care to know,
the other argument,
because if
yes, the other argument they
if it
mm.
was, there wasn't.
the
Sorry,
the other
if there
argument,
was, there wasn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you find it coherent that if at one point this whole universe initiated, so there must have been some will that initiated it, right? So the other thing that
That could have.
yes, another thing religious people use is the argument from intelligence, right? So human beings are intelligent people and we can initiate things as well.
Mhm.
So we possess consciousness, right? We possess volition. So just like we as intelligent beings possess volition, this universe depicts a lot more intelligent. So a being that must have initiated it must also have a higher conscious and a higher intelligence. Does that sound rational?
Yeah, if there was something that consciously created the universe as we know it, then it would probably have to be pretty smart, or
Ob-
at least it would have to know what it's doing.
Obviously, yes. So you do believe in both of this.
But
So I think you are a theist now.
I think that it's possible. I definitely don't think it's the only way things could have happened,
Hmm.
because the universe is a very mysterious place, and when you get to, you know, a lot of the physical processes we can have an explanation for. We can say, oh, why does the Earth orbit the sun and stuff. That's pretty simple to explain. But when you break it down into what created the universe, I don't think there's a strong enough argument to say that it must have been uh, a being as we know them. It could have been, but I don't think that
Well,
humanity has gone far enough to say one way or another yet.
well, I think that's the only answer because there is no other answer. Otherwise, you will fall into the fallacy of infinite regress. What caused this universe into being? What caused this existence into being? Why is there something rather than nothing? If you say that there is another finite universe, well, then the question would beg, what created that finite universe? And another question would beg, what created that finite universe? And it will go ad infinitum till until you will say that there must be a first necessary eternal existence, which Aristotle liked to call the unmoved mover, right? So there is only one explanation. If you
The,
if you
the
say,
prime mover.
yeah, the prime mover, the unmoved mover, the prime mover, if you say that the universe came out of nothing, well, then you are just destroying logic altogether, right? Because logically that is probably the weakest. It's as good as magic. So the only best argument is that an eternal existence and a first existence created all of this. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
Then
It's
accept it. Then accept it. What's wrong with accepting it? If there is nothing wrong with the argument, if the argument is rational on the probability framework, it makes sense. Why not accept it? Just like scientific community in statistics accept even two standard deviation, 95% if data is accurate, the theory is accepted. The correlation is accepted. So why not accept when there is only one argument to this?
I have 1 second. I have to give this guy his pizza. 1 moment. I have my own kind of theory on how it could have maybe happened. Have you seen The Hitchhiker's Guide?
No, I haven't. Please explain.
Oh, okay. Well, there is the way that they travel through the universe in that movie is something called the infinite improbability drive. And what it does is it basically cycles through every possibility, every improbability, until it makes you go to where you are, like where you need to go. It's hard to explain without watching the movie. But I think that it's entirely possible that nothingness was so it's not a logically sound argument. It's very
It's not.
It's just as mythical as a god creating the universe.
No.
But it's equally as mystical because it's like nothingness was so impossible that something just had to take its place. For lack of a better explanation.
This inferior language tactics created by Orientalists, I think this was really pathetic. I mean, God as a mythology. I mean, this was deliberately done in order to drive people away from religion. If you look at how Orientalists work, uh, God is the argument of God for creation of this universe is the most logical argument. I mean, why are you comparing it with mythology? Just because certain religions have died out because of they become corrupted later on, doesn't mean that all religion.
I just mean mythical. I just mean mystical as in it doesn't quite make complete sense to human logic, but it could have happened.
It could.
Because it's like you said, where did the God come from? If the God could have been eternal, then why couldn't the universe have been instead, and just without needing a God?
Because the universe is finite. We can see the universe, right? The universe has always boundaries to everything, right? You just observe the universe.
Well, it is expanding though.
It is expanding, but it should have a boundary.
we only know of the observable universe, so we haven't really seen everything yet. And we don't even know that this is the only universe. There could be infinite universes too.
But you
There's
can,
just too many factors to say for sure, I think.
no, you can only,
But I think that if I had to pick something, I would say something probably set something in place, or
now.
some
Okay.
maybe not even necessarily a being. It could have been a property of the universe before, you know, because like they say, physical all of like our laws of physics break down at the point of singularity. So things might have worked differently under different laws before that happened.
Yes, it's an equivalent way of saying that there must be another existence that had different laws and different things to everything. That's our same belief of God, to be honest, which solves this problem, right? The thing I'm trying to suggest here is that when you try to break it down, that oh, it's we are only seeing the observable universe. Well, you can only derive logic from the observable universe, right? I mean, you when you wake up, and I'm trying to prevent you from getting into super skepticism. When you wake up and your mother prepares breakfast for you, I mean, you will not start thinking that what if my mother put poison in the breakfast. So there is a probability in some probabilistic universe, it might be that my mother put poison in my breakfast, so I should not take my breakfast. Well, you will die of hunger if you start thinking like this, right? You only even in your practical everyday activities, you don't think like this, right? You derive logic from the observable universe and you take a rational decisions on everyday life. But when it comes to God, all of a sudden we have to pull the super skepticism into it. Or it might be this, it might be that, it might be the most atrocious logic, even like saying that it may have brought about from nothing, it may have brought about from another finite universe, which again falls into the problem of infinite regress. So the only way it works is if you believe in the prime mover argument, the unmoved mover. It solves the problem of the absurdity of infinite regress, and I think that's the best argument. There is no hiding away from this argument.
Yeah, I agree that it's probably the best argument, but the problem
Accept it.
that comes with me is twofold. That we don't know exactly what that prime mover was, and that it doesn't affect how I live my life. It doesn't affect how I behave, and it doesn't affect, where I go in the morning or what I eat. And like the breakfast thing, it's like I don't have to worry. I don't even have to ask myself if I'm on poison my breakfast if I made it myself. And I do make my own breakfast, so I don't have to worry. I could wonder about it and be like, well, no, I trust my mom, so of course she wouldn't do that. It just makes sense.
So so next time next time you will probably doubt your mother as well. That was not
Yeah, I don't.
that
Yeah,
was
you're
not what
not
I was
picking
trying
on
to
very good. I make my own food.
that was
Yeah,
not
no, I get what you mean.
that was not the point.
I think that the prime mover thing is a very good basis for the argument, but I don't think that it necessarily means a god as you might think of
I
it.
agree.
It could have
I
been
agree.
just another property of how the universe
Yes, yes.
worked, or
Yes,
like a physical law.
I
It
agree.
might
Hmm.
not be something that can interact with the universe now, but it might have been something that put the things in motion at
Hmm.
least. And I think that the impossibility of nothingness could very well have been that prime mover too. It's just if you watched the movie or read the book, you'd probably understand a little bit better what I mean.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But
No, no,
basically, they
no.
say it's so improbable to end up where you need to go.
Hmm.
But if you cycle through all the improbabilities, you'll get there
Yeah,
eventually.
yes, yes. When you said when you
It happens instantly.
yeah, yeah, when you said impossibility of nothingness, I mean you have just agreed that there is a necessary existence. If that's why it is called necessary existence, and you are right that obviously you cannot by this prime mover argument you cannot prove God's properties, but you can prove God's existence, right? Existence. Let I mean in philosophy, you can.
Kind of. It depends on how you define God. But I'll be right back. I need to get more pizzas.
Okay. What if the pizza delivery guy put poison in your pizza.